She said, I'm sorry I don't talk the way you want me to talk. I'm like, I want you to talk like a regular person, all right? Like you've been around people before, you know? We didn't talk in Florida, I'll tell you that. She's good at not talking to me. She can go a long time. She could do her whole marriage career. Marriage fights are great because they're all very dumb. I would say 90% of them are dumb. 10% the cops show up. But we got in a fight once over chocolate milk. We didn't talk for 24 hours. What happened is I brought chocolate milk home, and she was like, why did you bring it home? And I was like, you're supposed to drink it after you work out. And she was like, that's not true. And I was like, well, there's a commercial on TV. They probably looked into it more than you did. So I decided to listen to them. And she said, that's just the milk people pushing chocolate milk. And I was like, you don't even know what that statement means. You don't know if there's milk people. And I think chocolate milk's doing fine. I don't think they're sitting on barrels of it. And they're like, we got to make up a lie. We got to get rid of this chocolate milk. She went to college, all right, and I did not. But she did not study chocolate milk. When is it good and not good for you? To be fair to her, though, I do not work out. So, you know, but I was probably going to start, and I needed to get all this stuff there. Do you ever get in those fights, like you'll be at home, like you and your spouse, and you guys are not talking to each other? And you're in the house together, no kids, the house is quiet, and you just stay on opposite ends and then you pass each other in the hallway. That's like the funniest part of it, because you don't live in a mansion, you have one hallway. And you just didn't time it out right, and you just have to walk by each other like strangers. You're like, oh, excuse me, sorry, yeah, no, go ahead. She'll be watching TV. I'm like, ma'am, are you watching this? I couldn't tell. I was going to change it if you weren't watching it. It's the silent treatment. The silent treatment is, it's a very common thing. Everybody knows what it is. I think women are just born knowing it. I don't think you're taught it. I don't think it's like, my mom did it and her mom. It's an instinct that's in us all, that we all just know. Here's what made me think of that. I rewatched the movie Sixth Sense. And I'm not trying to do a Sixth Sense joke. This is a 20-year-old movie. I also have to spoil it, but it's 20 years old. So if you don't know by now, I don't know what to tell you, you know? And don't be like, we're going to watch it tonight. We're going to go to Blockbuster on the way home and... So he's dead the whole time. And I don't know. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's a pretty big part of it. But for those that have, think about when you watched it. When we all saw this movie for the first time, none of us knew he was dead. That was the biggest surprise we've ever seen in our life, you know? We just thought his wife wasn't talking to him for like a year. That made more sense to us than him possibly being dead. And I was like, when I watched it, I was like, what do they show him dying? Yeah, that guy shoots him with a gun. That's how the movie starts. That's how obvious they're like, hey, he's dead. And we still watched it for 2 hours, just like, I know what this guy's going through, you know? This is a movie about marriage and how hard marriage is. Yeah, even if you get shot, it's your fault. On a sadder note of sorts, we had to put our dog down recently, and it's a tough thing to do, you know? Nothing was wrong with her, I'm just really busy right now, and she was very sick. That was a joke, all right? That was a joke, and she would have loved that joke, so don't you worry about it. That's the type of humor she had. She was a rescue. It's not your labradoodle humor, all right? It's a little darker. She was a wonderful dog. We loved her, and her name was Annie. And the reason we got her was my sister worked at a vet, and people do put dogs down for no reason. So if someone brought a dog in that was fine, they just didn't want it. My sister couldn't do it, so she would walk the dog back and then just steal the dog. I don't know the laws on all that, but I'm sure now people are finding out that their dog's still alive right now. So we got Annie. Annie was getting put down. She was a hunting dog, and she was terrible at it. And she was bred to be a hunting dog, and she was just like a misfit toy that just didn't do it. She got shot once, and that's because the guy, he would be doing target practice, and then she'd just walk in front of the targets, and he would hit her, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "What are you doing?" She had no awareness about her, the senses that dogs have. We had turkeys in our backyard once, and I let her out to go chase these turkeys. Retired hunting dog, figured that's fun. And we have a very normal backyard. It's not Yellowstone Park. You can see all of it at all times. I push her out, and she just pees and then comes back in the house. Never sees the turkeys. And I'm just looking at her you didn't feel anything? Nothing was going? I sensed it as a human on the couch. I felt there was turkeys outside. You want to take just one lap around, see if... The guy used her a lot for duck hunting. So he would shoot a duck. She's supposed to run and go get it and then bring it back. So what I like to picture is he shoots the duck. She runs out, comes back, no duck. And she's like, "I don't even know what we're doing." All right, I did not. A million things flew in the air when you shot that gun. And I'm supposed to know which one you hit. And the guy's just looking at her, and then she's like, "You're not even the guy that I came out here with. Do you see, is there another guy out here by any chance?" Our daughter would put birthday cone hats on her, and one time one slipped over her eye, and it was like that for 6 hours. I was just trying to see how long, how's it accidentally not coming off? And she was just going about her day, just eating, drinking, yeah, I can't see all that eye no more, all right? That's the cards I was dealt, and that's okay. And then I pulled it off of her, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were a doctor." And I'm like, "I am a doctor." Just two dumb animals talking to each other. So she had skin cancer, and she would get all these spots on her. So we kept getting them removed. But it was really starting to take a toll on her, and she was older. So we knew the day was close. And our daughter, she's 6 now, but she was 5 at the time. This was her first pet. She was best friends with this dog. And it was the first thing that was going to die in her lifetime. So it's a lot of stuff to have to explain to a kid, And so I was talking to my wife about, how are we going to tell her? And at first I was like, let's just act like we didn't have a dog. 5-year-olds are smart, but if we stick together on this... And she comes home from school and is like, "Where's the dog?" And we're like, "What dog?" I've never seen a dog. Don't you think I would know if there was a dog? But I read an article about the long-term damage of that. It's pretty good. So I was just honest with her. And I set her down. I said, "Look, Annie's very sick and she's older and she's going to die soon. This happens, so just love her as much as you can right now." And she took it as good as a 5-year-old can take it. So the next day, I kind of told her again, you got to tell kids over and over again. I kind of kept telling her. I didn't want this to be a surprise. And then Annie surprised us by living 6 months longer. I mean, we were way off on when we thought she was going to die. But I already started telling my daughter I didn't want to stop and then have to start it again. So I just kept it up for 6 months. Every day I was like, she'll die. All right, she will die. She will die, I will die, your mom's dead. So finally the day was here, and our daughter was at school. And so my sister and my wife, they took Annie to go have to put her to sleep. And I went to go pick up our daughter to tell her. I've already been telling her. And so I picked her up. I told her. It was brutal, very sad. She took it as if this was the first she's heard about it. We get home, and my wife was like, how was it? Which is already a dumb, like, it was great. You know, I loved it. Can't wait for the next thing to die. Nice to say I told you so, you know. I told my wife it was terrible, you know. And then my wife goes, you didn't tell her that I did it, did you? And I was like, no, why would I say that? Like, I didn't even think about it, you know. Then I looked at her like, is that what you would have said, though? Would you have told her that I did it? You know how your dad's been talking with the dog dying? Well, he's finally had enough. We've been married 12 years, and our wedding, it was not good. This is not my fault. This was my mom and my wife planned the wedding. And they're both cheap. So they cut corners. If we hire someone to do something at our house, I promise he does not do that job full time. He'll be fixing our dishwasher and we're like, do you paint houses? And he's like, yeah, I probably could paint houses, you know? His business card says, how hard could it be, right? Can't be that hard. We got married on Friday the 13th, got a pretty sweet deal on that. They were wide open. We were like, what times are available? They go, every one of them, all 24. You can call us that day if you want. Her brother married us. That was free. The photographer was just a buddy of ours that had he just bought a new camera. So we were like, you gonna do our wedding? Never done anything professionally, and it showed. His camera stopped working during it, and he started taking stuff out of it. Like, that would be the problem. Like, it's like, yeah, you know what? I bet they put too much stuff inside of it when they built it. You should yank some of those wires. That's not supposed to be in there like that. Our DJ was awful, and that's because we got my mom to hire the DJ. I don't know who thinks to ask someone in their 50s for DJ recommendations. No one ever is like, Mom, are you in with the local DJ scene by any chance? She hired someone older than her. He just had CDs, and this was when computers were doing real good. He got super drunk, played the same song 3 times in a row. White Wedding, which he said was by Billy Joel. He only had one leg, seriously, and that's fine, you know, no one cares. Until he starts messing up, and then you're like, why does he have one leg? The best wedding I've ever been to was my cousin's wedding. It was a real redneck affair. It was right outside Louisville, Kentucky, where my parents are from. And my cousin's name is Tuesday, which is a good start. The invitation said, Tuesday's getting married, rehearsals Friday, wedding Saturday. People were like, we gotta be there Monday for this wedding? How long is this wedding? It's a week? We get there, I'm wearing a button-down shirt, khaki pants, nothing crazy. I'm wildly overdressed. I look like I work there. Everybody else just has a football or basketball jersey on. My uncle, his daughters get married. He has his tuxedo jacket, pants, cummerbund, bow tie, no shirt. They forgot his shirt, and instead of waiting to go get it, he was like, let's do it without it, right? Like, that's... And he doesn't have a body that's like, that's cool, man. You know, he has a body that you're like, put your jacket on backwards, flip it around. Yeah. And then you see his back, and you're like, whew, all right, go back the regular way. Yeah, that's my fault. How's your back worse than your front? We go into the church. It's bride and groom. Looks like it's home and away. That's how many jerseys are in there. Guys are drinking beers in the church. Like, that's something I've never heard a pastor be like, guys, could we not drink alcohol in the